Hi everyone, good evening and welcome back to the channel 360DigiTMG. Every week we have project presentation, and this presentation is accomplished by the team who are going to be future data scientists, data analysts and data engineers. And they work on a business problem end to end, right from doing the survey, market research, to the deployment and also maintaining of the product. So this week we are coming up with a project which is speaking about group health insurance policies. So how organizations, especially with startups, today we are looking at startup culture. So how does a startup take care of their employees' health insurance related decisions? So this is the bare minimum support that the organization has to do for their employees to make sure their health insurance is covered for their families as well. What are the various factors, features that have to basically be considered by the organization to give the best possible policy to their employees? At the same time, they also have to make sure that it is not going to cost too much to the organization. And year on year, the same policy might not work out because of the various changes that we are seeing, especially with the dynamic environment that we are seeing now, with respect to the environment, with respect to the culture, how the organizations work, and especially with the unprecedented and unpredicted world, thanks to these kind of pandemics that we are seeing. So health of the employees is utmost important. It needs to be covered. And congratulations to the team. They have pulled up the project and they developed a product which can very easily help the startup organizations to decide what would be the best policy for their employees, considering various factors. So I would like to hand over to Srijana, who is going to explain the details and then forward to the entire group. So congratulations team, and yeah, please take over, Ms. Srijana.
Hi everyone, I'm Srijana, and today we are going to present our project on group health insurance policy for employees. A group health insurance policy offers coverage to a group of people. So while considering a corporate company, both employer as well as employee get equally benefited. As per employees' perspective, the employees will get a default health insurance cover and the claim process becomes very easy. As per the employer perspective, they will get lower cost on premium and they will get tax benefits and they can make employee retention and they can motivate their employees. And the team members associated with this projects, these are our team members. And coming to the content of these projects, we have to be clear about how group health insurance is different from individual health insurance. We will be explaining this in next later slides. Then we will explain the project architecture, then project goals and technical stats. While selecting a project, we should be clear about what is the objectives and constraints of the project. So we will explain the objectives and constraints. Once we clear about the objectives and the constraints, in order to start the project, we require data. So data collection is one of the important stage. So in data collection part, we will explain how we collected the data, in what source we collected the data. Once we get the data, We need to perform exploratory data analysis, and we need to visualize the data. What are the techniques used for data visualization and how we perform exploratory data analysis will be explained in later slides. Once we completed exploratory data analysis and data visualization, we have to build a model and we have to select a model. So model building and model selection also included in this presentation. Once we're done with model building and model selection, we need to deploy our model. And deployment section also coming to the next later slides. And the output we got from our projects and the conclusion also included in this presentation. The difference between the individual health insurance and group health insurance will be explained by our team member, Sai Kumar.
Okay, thank you, Srijana. And before knowing what is group health insurance, now first, before we need to understand what is health insurance policy. The insurance that covers a medical expenses or hospitalization expenses is a health insurance policy. We see that in day-to-day life, the cost of living is increasing. And at this time, the hospitals are charging large amount of money for any diseases that occur. We may or may not be able to bear such cost. So by paying a less amount, we can get a health insurance that can cover the hospitalization bills for us and our families. Okay, what is group health insurance policy? If an employer is offering a health insurance policy for a group of his employees, then it is considered as a group health insurance policy. I will tell you an example. It may or may not understand. Just think that individual health insurance policy is like getting a product at a retail rate, and group health insurance is like a big wholesale product getting at a wholesale price. You will understand later. Like in group health insurance policy, there will be same sum insured for all the employees in that group. In individual health insurance policy, the person can select the sum insured as he like. Compared to individual health insurance policy, group health insurance policy are less costly. They give better benefits. Like individual health insurance policy doesn't give pre-existing disease coverage from day one, but some group health insurance policies will provide that benefit. Okay, as my friend Srijana said, but how this benefits to employer? Like it gives a good motivation to the employees. As we are taking a group health insurance policy, we will get the policies in a low cost and get a huge tax benefits, get easy premium payments like monthly, quarterly, yearly, and the employees loyalty to this employer. And we will know that about objective and constraints of this project. The next slide. Okay. Generally, Okay, objective is like maximizing the benefits from health coverage for employees. Means the in that policy should cover that maximum benefits. Like it should give more benefits to the employees. It should cover a lot of features. And the constraint is that by giving that maximum benefits, the policy should be in low cost. And now we go about the CRISP-ML. We go CRISP-ML process is that it will help you to plan, organize, and implement your data science project. Like it has some phases like a business understanding, data understanding, data preparation, model building, testing and evaluation, the deployment and monitoring. Okay, now understand these phases. Business understanding. First of all, here we understand the objectives and constraints of this project. Here we determine the resources, project requirements, assess risks, and select technologies and tools, and define detailed plans for each project phase. Sometime understanding this business may take time like 1 to 2 weeks in the company. Data understanding, the next phase. After understanding the business, now we collect the data. Now, after collecting the data, we need to understand the data. This is done by doing EDA, like examine the data and documents its properties, like a data format, number of records, and we have to see whether the data is clean or not, document any quality issues, and finally visualize it and identify relations among the data. And after doing the data understanding phase, now we go to data preparation. Here we will clean the data if it has any outliers or NA values like that, and we will reformat the data for our model, like type conversion, and then we will do future selection for the model. Now we divide the data for the model training and validation purpose. After that, we go for model building, the fourth phase. Now we select the algorithm we need to use on the data to get a good result. Like there are so many models like regression, neural network, like that, etc. Now we train the model and then we validate. If the model is working fine, and then we can move to the next phase, or else we again go to the previous step of data preparation and again try the model. These two phases are like repetitive phases till we get good model output. Model deployment. Okay, guys, what is the model deployment? Deployment is the method by which you integrate a machine learning model into an existing production environment to make a practical business decisions based on the data. Model deployment requires coordination between data scientists, software developers, and business professionals to ensure the model works reliably in the organization's production environment. Here we select a tool, and using the tool we deploy the model. There are a wide range of tools used in the model deployment, like some of Amazon SageMaker, Azure Machine Learning, Flask, Streamlit, etc. Okay. After that, monitoring and maintenance. The monitoring of machine learning models refers to the ways we track and understood our model performance in production for both a data scientist and operational perspective to avoid any issues during the operational phase. Like if it is like a monitoring, if there is any issues, we have to resolve that issues. Generally, this is done by the DevOps team. Okay, now for the next slide. From here, my friend Gomati will take over.
Yeah. Thank you, Sai Kumar. Here you are using, there are the softwares and tools in our project we are using to provide the a best policy to the employee. First, Python. Python is the, especially it is popular among the data scientists because it's an open source and interpreted high level language. It provides a great approach for object oriented programming. The Python is the one of the best language we can use it for various data science projects. It provides, see in Python, it provides a great libraries, so it can deals with data science applications and projects in various method. So in our project, we all use the countless libraries. Even Pythons also can provide the countless libraries like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, Seaborn, Scikit-learn, Streamlit in Python to make the data cleaning and data analysis, data visualization, make our data cleaning and data visualization using the machine learning algorithm as much as easier in Python. CSS. CSS in HTML, how we use it in our project. The CSS is the cascading style sheets. So it can save a lot of work. So it can control the layout of the web pages. So main purpose of CSS we use it in our project is it is used to format the layout of the web pages. So CSS can control the color and font and size of the text. So it is, before I said, it is the a style sheet. It is the a style sheet languages used for describing and presentation of the document with written in a markup language. How we use CSS in HTML? See, CSS can add in HTML documents in three ways. Inline. Inline is a style attribute inside the HTML elements. For internal, we're using another one is a internal. It is the style elements used for head section. External, it's the elements in the a link to the external. Tableau. A Tableau is a wonderful tool we used for the visualization purpose. Coming to Tableau, it is a powerful and fastest growing data visualization tool. It is used in the business intelligence. So it helps to create the data that can be understood easily. While seeing the visualization part, everyone can easily understand the data as much as easier. Streamlit. Streamlit is used for the deploy the model. It is the fastest way to deploy and share the data apps. Comparing with Flask, nowadays Streamlit is using many of them because it is the open source Python library that makes it easy to create and shares a beautiful apps, customer web apps to machine learning and data science projects. So in few minutes, we can build and deploy the powerful data apps using the Streamlits. Next slide. Architecture of our project. Before my friend Sai told the project objective, the main objective of our project is we need to minimize the benefits from the health coverage for employee. Our main aim of our project is we need to provide an best policy for employee. This is our main objective. Based on the objective, we start collecting the data from different sources. One is a primary source and secondary source. Primary source is a type of the data that is collected by the research directly from the main source, like online research, filling the Google forms, directly contact with the policy agents. From these sources, we call as a primary source. Secondary source is that collected by someone rather than the primary user. So in these two ways, we start collecting the data. After collecting the data, we start to store our data in the MySQL server. After storing the data, we start doing extracting the data in Python. Data pre-processing we started. In data pre-processing, data cleaning, EDA part, a future engineering, future selection, finding the null values, finding the outliers, many processing we are doing in the data pre-processing. Once our data is ready, we start doing the visualization part also. Visualization, we use the Tableau. As I before I said, Tableau is a beautiful tool. We can easily visualize the data. Start doing the modeling part. In modeling part, we chosen the unsupervised machine learning. In unsupervised machine learning, we come up with policy segmentation, policy recommendation. Policy segmentation, we use clustering like k-means cluster, hierarchical cluster, DB scan cluster. We did 3 clustering part in policy segmentation. After doing modeling part, we did model selection. Finally, we come up with k-means cluster based on the Silicon score and recommendation. We did model evaluation. How we did k-means cluster? Basically, k-means cluster is a unsupervised machine learning. It is a very faster and more efficient algorithm to categorize the data into groups. Even when we have a very little information is available in our data. For that also, we are using the k-means cluster. In k-means cluster, we used Silicon score. Silicon score is used to evaluate the quality of the cluster. You are checking the quality of the cluster here. So creating using the cluster algorithm, basically this Silicon score is calculating for each sample of different clusters. In Silicon score, we are observing two ways. One is a mean intra cluster distance, another one is median nearest cluster distance. This mean intra-cluster distance plays a very important role here. It finds the distance between the observation and all other data points in the same cluster. It is used to find in the same cluster. But in a mean nearest, it finds the distance between the observation on all other points of the data nearest cluster. So these two plays a very important role in the Silicon score by using the k-means cluster. Based on this k-means cluster, we did recommendation engine. A recommendation engine, we used the cosine similarity to build the policy recommendation. So it is to measure the similarity of the policy to performance to policy product. After completing the model selection, we start doing the model deployment. Based on the streamlit, we are doing the deployment part. It is the last stage in the machine learning life cycle. So it is to create a deployment on an app. So we are a web application based on the client requirement. We are delivering in a client server. Next slide. Data collection. Data collection, we finally scrap the data and analyzes from the different data collection like primary data and secondary data. We come up with 32 different insurance provider. Finally, we come up with 20 finalized features like age, then employee age, insurance provider name, maternity covered, COVID covered. These are the features we are covered in this data set. Zero and non-zero variants are we are not considering in this data set. Coming to the missing value, there is no missing value and null values are presented in our data set. If it is there, it means we have to do the imputation method. I'm handovering next slide to Surabhi.
Thank you, Gomti. So coming to data visualization, first the question is what is data visualization and why do we use it? So data visualization is a graphical representation of any data set. And we use data visualization to make the data easy to understand and pull insight from it. Here we show the data graphical representation of some of the important features of our data set. Yeah, coming to this slide, this is a bar graph for the claim ratio. For the different policy, by seeing this graph, we can easily say that the three insurance company, that is Star Health Allied Insurance, Go Digit, and the State Bank of India, are providing a good claim ratio in comparison of other insurance provider company. Network hospital coverage. By seeing this graph, we can say that network hospital coverage of the different insurance group are plotted, and the health insurance is giving the best network hospital coverage among the all insurance provider group. Coming to the maternity benefit, by seeing this graph, we can say that the maternity benefit are divided into three categories, that is not covered, 0 to 25,000, and 25,000 to 5,000 rupees. And the majority of the insurance company, that is 26 company, are not providing the maternity benefit coverage, while 7 company are providing the maternity benefit of the in the range of 0 to 25,000 rupees. And the 5 policy company are there who are providing the maternity benefit coverage to 25,000 to 5,000 rupees. Pre-existing diseases. Coming to the pre-existing disease, by seeing this pie chart, we can say that 59% of the policy are there who are not providing this coverage, pre-existing disease, for the day one coverage, while 41% of the insurance company are there who are providing the pre-existing diseases coverage. Newborn baby cover. By seeing this pie chart, we can say that 56% of the insurance company are there who are providing the newborn coverage from the day one, while 44% of the company are not providing the newborn baby coverage from the day one. COVID-19. By seeing this pie chart, we can say that 69% of the company are there who are not providing the COVID-19 coverage, while 31% of the insurance company are there who are only providing the COVID-19 coverage under this. Now the model building will be described by the Rohan.
Thanks, Survi. Now, next slide, please. Now coming to the model building part, for model selection, the following models were explored for the purpose of this project, namely hierarchical clustering, DB scan, k-means clustering, and recommendation engine. In hierarchical clustering, basically there are two methods, namely agglomerative and divisive. The number of clusters is decided by a figure called a dendrogram, as shown in the first picture. However, hierarchical clustering is not suitable for the datasets having higher number of variables or features, as it becomes difficult to interpret the optimum cluster value from a complex dendrogram. Now, the second model which was tried, called the density-based spatial clustering of applications with noise, or in short, DB scan, is used to identify distinctive groups or clusters in the data. The epsilon value, which denotes the radius, can be optimized to get different clusters. Coming to the k-means clustering, the k-means algorithm is used to identify the number of centroids denoted by k, and then it allocates every data point to the nearest clusters based on the features of that data point. And all of this process while keeping the centroids as small as possible. The k value can be found using a scree plot, which gives us the number of clusters. And finally, we tried the recommendation engine to recommend the most relevant items based on the similarity score. And there are basically three types of recommendation systems called collaborative filtering, content-based filtering, and a hybrid of the two. Next slide, please. So as discussed earlier, these are the 4 unsupervised machine learning models we tried. And we found that a combination of 2 models, which is k-means clustering and recommendation engine, resulted in an optimum solution to the business objective, wherein the k-means clustering is used to cluster the data set into 3 groups, thus dividing them into meaningful categories. The silhouette score is high as compared to other unsupervised models as well. The recommendation engine is then helpful in recommending similar policies based on the customer's preferences. So now hand over to Akash for explaining the output of the models.
Thank you, Rohan. Hi friends, my name is Akash. We'll take further from here with the output insights. So we are dividing our cluster into 3 main groups, which is low budget cluster, medium budget cluster, and high budget cluster. In low budget cluster, we have 18 insurance providers with 22 different products, which the premium amount is ranging from 1 lakh to 2.5 lakhs and have a highest claim ratio of 99% and a wide range of network hospital, which is ranging from 4,000 to 15,500. And in medium budget cluster, we have 8 insurance providers with 10 different products. And the premium amount is ranging from 2.5 to 3.5 lakhs. And the top claim ratio is 96% and wide range of network hospitals is 4,000 to 15,500. And when it comes to high budget cluster, we have 5 insurance providers with 6 different products, which is providing a premium amount of 3.5 to 4.5 lakhs and a claim ratio of 95% and network hospitals ranging from 4,500 to 8,200. Next slide, please. When coming to recommendation engine, we are using the recommendation engine from the best cluster for a recommendation of the policy. And we are going to have a similarity score based on the clusters what we have. And we are choosing the top 2 policies, which is from cluster 2, that are Care Health Insurance and Star Allied Health Insurance. Next slide, please. When it comes to conclusion, by using a cluster plus recommendation, we are concluding that Care Health is one of the best affordable policy which offers less premium amount and higher claim ratio, and it has a different groups and it is providing a different groups and as well as different sizes also, and it covers a wide range of network hospitals, which is 15,500, and the client can switch between different products based on their requirement. Next slide, please. When coming to the deployment strategy, we are using a Streamlit package, which is a model imported in a Python. Here we are using a different interfaces using HTML and cascading systems. Here we are creating a web-based deployment. And nowadays, like web-based deployment is very easy and customer interactive. So here we are creating a sidebar which contains a menu. In that 3 options will be there, which covers home, recommend policies, and about. In recommend policies, we'll have number of recommendations and select a feature and select your previous policy. In select a feature, there will be a feature premium and previous policy that is customer already taken. Next slide, please. Yeah, when customer selects recommended policy, he have to select the number of recommendations also. And as well as the premium feature will say, it is going to similarize based on the premium feature, and based on the selected policy, it is going to build a similarity between the policies and recommend based on the selected policy. Let's see how it works. When a client selects, about will say built with Streamlit. Recommended policy will have select a feature, that is premium, and your previous policy, the client which is having a previous policy. So now he is changing the recommendations and is going to give based on the selected previous policy. If in case customer has to change within a year, he can switch between the policies and he can get the recommendation based on that policy. Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah, thank you. Any queries regarding the presentation?